stop whatever you're doing right now. Because what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes, most men will never learn this. Not because it's hidden, but because they're too busy doing the wrong things, saying the right words, buying the right things, planning the right dates, and she's still pulling away. Here's why. There are 7 specific touches, each one backed by neuroscience, that can make a mature woman feel more emotionally connected to you than years of conversation ever could. I'm going to walk you through all 7, but I need you to stay with me because touch number 5 is almost unfair how powerful it is. And touch number 7, relationship therapists literally prescribe it to couples on the edge of divorce. We'll get there. But first, here's what nobody tells you about mature women. She has heard every compliment. She has read every sweet text. She has sat through every candlelit dinner where a man tried too hard to say exactly the right thing. Words stopped moving her a long time ago. What actually cracks open that guarded heart she's spent years protecting? Touch, but not just any touch. Dr. Dache Keltner at UC Berkeley ran a study where strangers communicated emotions through brief touches on the forearm. No words, no facial expressions, just touch. The result? People accurately identified emotions like love, gratitude, and sympathy through touch alone, with up to 78% accuracy. Your mouth wishes it was that effective. Before I walk you through all 7 touches, I need to warn you about something. 2 of these touches are so simple, you're going to be tempted to dismiss them. Don't. Those are the exact 2 that mature women have told me over and over again make them feel things they cannot explain. And the last touch on this list, number 7, I'm saving it for last because it carries more psychological weight than all the others combined. Stick with me. Let's start with touch number 1. Most men think this is just basic gentleman behavior. It's not. The science behind this one is staggering. The lower back contains a massive cluster of nerve endings wired directly to the brain's emotional processing centers. A slow, confident, warm hand placed there sends a signal that bypasses logic entirely. But here's what most men get wrong. Speed and pressure matter enormously. A quick pat? That's something her uncle does at Thanksgiving. A heavy push? That feels controlling, but a slow, steady, warm placement of your full palm, with just enough pressure to say, I'm here and I'm aware of you, triggers what psychologists call a protective bonding response. Her nervous system reads it as safety. Her brain releases oxytocin, and emotionally, she starts associating your presence with calm. A mature woman especially responds to this. She spent years being the strong one, handling everything herself, being her own protector. When you place your hand on her lower back with quiet confidence, you're not being controlling. You're communicating. You're saying, without a single word, you don't have to carry everything alone right now. I once read a comment from a woman in her late 40s who said, he put his hand on my back walking into a restaurant, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 15 years. I felt chosen. That's the power of this touch when it's done right. We're just getting started. 6 more touches to go. And I promise you, by the time we get to number 5, you're going to want to rewatch this video from the beginning. Stay with me. Everybody holds hands. That's not special. What I'm talking about is different. This is when you take her hand and then bring your other hand over to cradle it. Both of your hands holding one of hers, maybe during a quiet moment, maybe right after she's shared something vulnerable. This works because of something called bilateral stimulation. When both of your hands are engaged, it creates a symmetrical sensory input her brain interprets as full emotional presence. Therapists actually use bilateral touch techniques in EMDR therapy to help people process trauma. For a mature woman, a woman who has spent years with men who are physically present but emotionally somewhere else, when she feels both of your hands wrapped around hers with warmth and intention, her brain practically screams, "This one is different." And once a mature woman's brain decides you're different, good luck to every other man who tries to compete. Touch number 3 is the one that catches most women completely off guard. Most men would never think to do this, and the ones who do, almost accidentally, can't explain why it works so well. I can, and I'm about to. I don't mean a forehead kiss, although we'll touch on something similar later. I mean gently pressing your forehead against hers, foreheads touching, eyes closing naturally, breathing syncing up, the world going quiet. Dr. Sue Johnson, creator of emotionally focused therapy and one of the most cited relationship researchers alive, has written extensively about what she calls bonding moments, micro interactions that activate the attachment system in adults, the same way a mother's touch activates it in infants. The forehead touch is one of the most potent bonding moments two adults can share. Why? Because it requires vulnerability from both people. You can't do this from across the room. You have to slow down. You have to let your guard down. For a mature woman who has built emotional walls high enough to keep out most of the world's nonsense, this touch is a quiet knock on a door she forgot she had. A man who can hold this moment without rushing it, without cracking a joke because the intimacy feels uncomfortable. That man has just communicated more emotional intelligence than most people demonstrate in an entire relationship. Real quick, if this is resonating with you, if you're learning something here that nobody's ever explained this clearly before, hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is dedicated to giving you the kind of psychology-backed, real-world insights that actually change how you show up in relationships. And we drop new content every week. You don't want to miss what's coming. Now, touch number 4. I almost didn't include this one. Because of how effective it is, I genuinely debated whether to share it. But here we are. The nape of the neck is one of the most sensitive and vulnerable areas on the human body. It's packed with nerve endings. And because it's an area people can't easily see or protect, touching it creates an immediate spike in both arousal and trust simultaneously. That combination is extraordinarily rare. Most touches create one or the other. This one does both at the same time. When a man gently places his fingers or palm on the back of a woman's neck, while sitting beside her, while leaning in to say something, her brain runs a rapid evaluation. Am I safe? Do I trust this person? Does this feel good? If the answer to all three is yes, the emotional response is almost instantaneous. Breathing changes, pupils dilate. Dopamine and oxytocin release in tandem, which is the exact neurochemical cocktail responsible for romantic attachment. A mature woman who recognizes this touch knows exactly what it communicates. Confidence without aggression, desire without desperation, familiarity without assumption. One important warning: timing is everything here. You cannot do this with someone you just met. This touch works because trust already exists. It's a progression, not a shortcut. And a mature woman will know the difference immediately. Okay, touch number 5. I told you at the beginning this one is almost unfair. I meant it. This is where the psychology of touch becomes genuinely fascinating. The thumb stroke happens when you're already holding her hand, or your hand is resting on her arm, her shoulder, her knee. And without drawing attention to it, your thumb slowly moves back and forth across her skin. Small, slow, rhythmic. You don't announce it. You don't look down at your hand. You just do it, while continuing whatever conversation you're already in. This works because of a specific class of nerve fibers called C-tactile afferents. These nerves respond specifically to slow, gentle stroking touch, and they're directly wired to the brain regions that process emotional connection and social bonding. Researchers at the University of Gothenburg in Sweden found that this type of touch activates the insular cortex, the brain region responsible for feelings of intimacy and closeness. Here's what makes this almost unfair. Because it's so subtle, she may not consciously register what you're doing, but her brain absolutely registers it. And emotionally, she starts feeling drawn to you in a way she may not even be able to articulate. A mature woman who feels this will think he doesn't even realize he's doing it. This is just how he is. And that thought, that belief that your tenderness is effortless rather than calculated, is what makes her fall. Not the grand gestures, not the expensive gifts, the unconscious, gentle movement of your thumb while you're talking about something completely ordinary. That is what love actually feels like to a woman who has seen everything else. 2 more touches left. Touch 6 is going to rewrite something for her that no man before you has ever addressed. And touch 7. I told you I was saving the most powerful one for last. Don't go anywhere. You're sitting beside her or standing next to her, and without a word, no come here, no announcement, You reach over and gently pull her closer. Your arm goes around her shoulder and draws her in, or your hand finds her waist and closes the distance between you. Just movement, just intention. This works on a principle attachment researchers call proximity seeking. In attachment theory, one of the primary signs of secure bonding is the instinctive desire to reduce physical distance. When you pull her closer without being asked, you're sending a signal through action, not language. The space between us was too much. I wanted you closer. For a mature woman, and this is something nobody talks about, many women over 35 or 40 have spent years feeling like they had to earn closeness, be attractive enough, agreeable enough, accommodating enough to deserve affection. They've been in relationships where physical closeness only happened when the other person wanted something. So when a man pulls her close simply because he wants her near him, not because he's initiating something, not because he's performing for an audience, it rewrites a story she's been telling herself for years. It tells her she is wanted, not for what she offers, not for what she does, just for her presence, just for existing next to him. If you don't think that's powerful enough to make a confident, self-sufficient woman melt, you've never watched it happen. If you've made it this far, and you're realizing that most of what you were taught about attraction was completely backwards, subscribe right now if you haven't already. Because this is exactly the kind of content we break down every single week. Psychology, neuroscience, real-world application, the stuff that actually works. Now, touch number 7, the one I promised you. This last touch carries more psychological weight than everything else on this list combined. Relationship therapists prescribe this. Scientists have measured its effect. And for a mature woman who has spent years holding herself together, this one touch can do something no word, no gift, no romantic gesture ever could. Not a quick squeeze, not the back-patting buddy hug, not the one-armed side hug that says, I acknowledge your existence, but would rather not commit to this. I'm talking about a full, both arms wrapped chest-to-chest hug that lasts a minimum of 20 seconds. And yes, that number is specific for a reason. Research published in the journal Psychoneuroendocrinology found that hugs lasting 20 seconds or longer trigger a significant release of oxytocin while simultaneously reducing cortisol, the stress hormone. This means a long hug doesn't just make her feel loved, it biologically reduces her stress. Her heart rate slows, her blood pressure drops, her nervous system shifts from fight or flight mode into the parasympathetic state, the state where bonding and emotional openness become possible. This is why Dr. John Gottman, whose relationship research spans over 4 decades, recommends prolonged physical holding as one of the most effective tools for rebuilding emotional trust between partners. It is not a metaphor. It is not a feel-good suggestion. It is a clinically supported intervention. Now, here's why this matters so much for a mature woman specifically. By the time a woman reaches her 40s or 50s, she has likely experienced real loss, real heartbreak, real loneliness she never talked about. She has learned to hold herself together so well that most people around her don't even realize she's hurting. When you wrap your arms around that woman and you hold on, not for a polite 2 seconds, but for a full, unhurried, genuine embrace that says, I'm not letting go until you're ready, something shifts inside her that she cannot control. Every wall she's built, every defense she's perfected, every instinct telling her to stay guarded, all of it softens. Not because she's weak, but because for the first time in a very long time, she doesn't have to be strong. And that is the most powerful thing a touch can do. Not excite her, not impress her, relieve her, give her permission to stop holding everything together and just for one moment. If you can be the man who gives her that, she won't just fall in love with you. She will choose you, deliberately, repeatedly, with every part of herself she's been protecting from the wrong people for years. So now you have them. 7 touches, each one backed by psychology, neuroscience, and the lived experience of women who have been through enough to know exactly what real connection feels like. And the beautiful thing? Not one of these requires money, status, or perfect timing. They require awareness, intention, and the willingness to slow down long enough to actually be present with the person in front of you. But knowing these touches is only half the equation. Because here's the truth, most men overlook entirely. A mature woman will not wait passively for you to figure this out. She's already sending you signals. Subtle, consistent, unmistakable signals that tell you exactly how she feels, if you know what to look for. Most men miss them completely and then wonder why she lost interest. That's exactly why you need to watch this next video right now. It's called, If a Woman Wants Intimacy with You, She Will Always Do These 6 Things, Psychology. It breaks down the exact behaviors a woman displays when she has already decided she wants to be closer to you. You just learned how to touch her in a way that creates real emotional connection. This next video teaches you how to recognize when she's already responding, so you never miss the moment. It's on your screen right now. Click it.